जय ब्रज जनरञ्जना जय यमुनातीरवनचारी जय कुञ्जविहारी जय यमुनातीरवनचारी जय कुञ्जविहारी जय यमुनातीरवनचारी जय कुञ्जविहारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा कालचंजी राधा कालचंजी राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttamaśloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtuki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam today. This is Canto 8, Chapter 9, Text 28. Evam surasuraga Evam surasuragana samadaisha kala Hetvarta karma matayopi phale vikalpaha Tatamritam suragana phalamanjasapur Yatpadapankajaraja na daitya Evam gana samadesha kala Hetvarta karma matayopi phale vikalpaha Tatramritam suragana phalam anjasapur Yatpadapankajaraja na daitya Evam gana samadesha kala Hetvarta karma matayopi phale vikalpaha Tatramritam suragana phalamanjasapur Yatpadapankajaraja na daityaha Evam gana samadesha kala Hetvarta karma matayopi phale vikalpaha Tatramritam suragana phalamanjasapur Yatpadapankajaraja na daityaha Evam gana samadesha kala Hetvarta karma matayopi phale vikalpaha Tatramritam suragana phalamanjasapur Yatpadapankajaraja na daityaha Evam gana samadesha kala Hetvarta karma matayopi phale vikalpaha Tattamritam suragana phalamanjasapur यत्पादपङ्कजरजश्रयणान्न दैत्यः. Anyone else? एवं सुरासुरगणा समदेशकाला हेत्वर्तकर्ममतयोऽपि फले विकल्पः तत्तामृतं सुरागणफलं जसापुर यत्पादपङ्कजरजश्रयणान्न दैत्यः. Transliteration. Evam, thus, Sura, the demigods, Asuragana, the demons, Sama, equal, Desha, place, Kala, time, Hetu, cause, Artha, objective, Karma, activities, Mataya, ambition, Api, although one, Phale, in the result, Vikalpaha, not equal, Tatra, thereupon, Amritam, nectar, Suraganaha, the demigods, Phalam, the result, Anjasa, easily, totally or directly, Apuhu, achieved, Yat, because of, Pat Pada Pankaja, of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rajaha, of the saffron dust, Shrayanat, because of receiving benedictions or shaking shelter, Na, not, Daityaha, the demons. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The place, the time, the cause and the purpose, the activity and the ambition were all the same for both the demigods and the demons. But the demigods achieved one result and the demons another. Because the demigods are always under the shelter of the dust of the Lord's lotus feet, they could very easily drink the nectar and get its result. The demons, however, not having sought shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, were unable to achieve the result they desired. In Bhagavad Gita 4.11, it is said, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Judge who rewards or punishes different persons according to their surrender unto His lotus feet. Therefore, it can actually be seen that although karmis and bhaktas may work in the same place at the same time with the same energy and with the same ambition, they achieve different results. The karmis transmigrate through different bodies in the cycle of birth and death, sometimes going upward and sometimes downward, thus suffering the results of their actions in the karma chakra, the cycle of birth and death. The devotees, however, because of fully surrendering to the lotus feet of the Lord, are never baffled in their attempts. Although externally they work almost like the karmis, the devotees go back home, back to Godhead, and achieve success in every effort. The demons or atheists have faith in their own endeavors, but although they work very hard day and night, they cannot get any more than their destiny. The devotees, however, can surpass the reactions of karma and achieve wonderful reactions even without effort. It is also said, Phalena parichyate, one's success or defeat in any activity is understood by its result. There are many karmis in the dress of devotees, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can detect their purpose. The karmis want to use the property of the Lord for their selfish sense gratification, but a devotee endeavors to use the Lord's property for God's service. Therefore, a devotee is always distinct from the karmis, although the karmis may dress like devotees. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yagnarthat karmano anyantra loko yam karma bandhanaha. One who works for Lord Vishnu is free from this material world, and after giving up his body, he goes back home, back to Godhead. a karmi, however, although externally working like a devotee, is entangled in his non-devotional activity, and thus he suffers the tribulations of material existence. Thus, from the results achieved by the karmis and devotees, one can understand the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who acts differently for the karmis and jnanis than the devotees. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita therefore says, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Santa Bhukti Mukti Siddhikhami Sakali Ashanta. The karmis who desire sense gratification, the jnanis who aspire for the liberation of merging with the existence of the Supreme, and the yogis who seek material success in mystic power are all restless, and ultimately they are baffled. But the devotee who does not expect any personal benefit and whose only ambition is to spread the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is blessed with all the auspicious results of Bhakti Yoga without hard labor. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yenam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So, as we see in this chapter, it is the previous few shlokas actually in the Mohini Avataram. Actually, it is seen that Rahu comes and disguises himself in the Vesham of a Devata, and he gets detected by Surya and Chandra actually. So in the previous shloka it is described, Chakrena Shuradharena Jahara Pibata Shiraha Haristasya Kabandastu Sudha Plavito Patate. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Hari, using his disc like the sharp razor, at once cut off Rahu's head. So Rahu was none other than Swarnabahu, and as we know in the pastime in Leela, it is known that he comes and disguises when the Amritam is being distributed. So as we see in the purport, it is said that sometimes karmis and jnana yogis may get the same result. So even in our real material life, we may do the same job in a work or an office. Both may get salary, both may get promotion, both may get everything they want in life. But the difference in the Bhagavata is he dedicates his result to the service of Sri Krishna. When you dedicate that result, you will not get reaction to it. And this is exactly explained in Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna wanted to fight. Even Duryodhana wanted to fight. Both wanted to get the kingdom. But in the end of the day, when the whole battlefield was done, Arjuna realized after hearing Bhagavad Gita, as Krishna says, Yadasnosi ajyosi yadadasi tapatsyasi yad tapasyasi kaunteva tat kurusva madarpanam. Means you will surrender the result to me. Even if you get the kingdom, it is his to enjoy. This is the difference between a normal karmi yogi, a jnana yogi, and one who is practicing bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga in devotional service means dedicating not just result, dedicating atma amarpanam. In Navavidha Bhakti we say, Atma Nivedanam means surrendering one's body and one's soul itself to his lotus feet. That is actually the real purpose of Bhakti Yoga. We may have a material life and desire and every responsibility by Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, which may come as part of it. But even that has to be dedicated to Sri Krishna's lotus feet. When we do that, then we do not see reaction. So we can see wonderfully as in this shloka where it is explained that how Sri Hari from Mohini Murti immediately reveals his form and he cuts Rahu's head. So to describe Sudarshana Chakra, there are many shlokas which are written. So one of them written is Spurat Sahasraj Shikhati Tivram Sudarshanam Bhaskaram Kotitulyam Sudar Visham Prana Vinashi Vishnu Chakram Sadaham Sharanam Prapadye. So actually the Sudarshana Chakra of the Lord is one of the most potent weapons. All the weapons which are the main primary weapons which Krishna has, the Sudarshana Chakra, the Panchajanyam which is the conch, Sharangam which is the bow, Khadgam which is the sword, on the rope. All of these different objects can actually supplement each other. But Sudarshana Chakra is supposed to have, as the shloka says, it has thousands of fiery spokes of flames to destroy the enemies of the Devatas. In this whole Leela of between the Samudra Manthanam and Kurma Avataram, there is a battle between the Devatas and the demons, Daityas. So, who are actually the Bhagavatas in this whole Leela? It is the Devatas. He has only taken Kurma Avataram to actually protect them. Now, why he has taken Kurma Avataram? Because, as we know in the previous pastime, Indra had some pride, and because of disrespect, he lost all of this opulence. So, sometimes Sri Krishna decides to teach his devotee in the right way the lesson. We may also have karmic reactions from prarabdha karma, but the understanding, the surrender means we have to accept what is coming to us. We cannot escape from the laws of karma. Even Indra and other devatas were actually subject, but they accepted what is supposed to happen. Temporarily he lost his kingdom, he lost his luster. And then Sri Krishna took incarnation as Kurma Avataram. He came as Mohini to protect. Now, even as all the grahas, it is said that Rahu, as we know, Swarna Bahu, the moment he drank the nectar, because it only stayed till the neck, his head was chopped by Sudarshana Chakram. And because of the Amritam, it is said that it became Rahu and Ketu. In fact, that is also predestined by Sri Krishna only to happen. Nothing can happen without his will in such a thing. So, all the grahas which are present, all the devatas, Indra, Brihaspati, Shukra, all these planets which are there, they are actually personalities who are present in Devalokam. And the reason for doing this is because Krishna wants to utilize through them as instruments, and how they are at the higher planets is we get reactions. I mean, in astrology it is said that Ketu is like a moksha karakan. In someone's chart, when someone is born, it will indicate kind of, if they have inclination towards spirituality or no. And many people who have strong Rahu in their chart, they will be addicted to intoxication, some things which are not kind of desirable or excess desire. So this is the aspect of, this is a deeper aspect, because prarabdha karma and karma, we have a body. So we cannot detach ourselves from the body. So all of this is actually preordained and destined that Rahu, Swarnabhahu has to come and Krishna has to cut his head with Sudarshana Chakram. No one can be touched by Sudarshana Chakram without Sri Krishna's desire. That is to be understood. We cannot wish and say, come and touch me. Only when he desires. Even when he had to slay Shishupala, obviously Shishupala, Dantavakra, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, they have come down as Jaya Vijaya. But you cannot expect to be touched by divine weapons of Sri Krishna out of our own volition. Only when he desires it happens, actually. Because being touched by them means it is spiritual. So that karmic reaction will be finished. So this is the understanding. So in all of this, we can see that how Sri Krishna wants to always protect his devotees or Bhagavatas. That is the most important thing. Even the Devatas, they are all Bhagavatas only. He took Kurma Avataram only for them, actually, to create this balance. And also, this is why even for us in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that sometimes there may be folks who may be, whether we say devotees or in real life, may be dressed in certain attire. But we must know to detect and understand what is one's true, intentions. And that only comes with tapasya and actually spiritual practice. In life, day to day, the best example is we may be in a real world environment, but only by chanting Sri Krishna's name that we can protect ourselves from all of this thing. There is another nice shlokam which describes about Sri Sudarshanam. It says, Diksham Sangrama Satre Mahati Kratvato Deepti Bisham Tabhi Jivhale Sapta Jivva Danujakul Havir Juhato Nemi Jivva Vaikunta Trayasya Kundam Mahitiva Vilasat Pindika Vedi Mahe Dishyat Divyartideshyam Padahima Bhavatanam Akshato Memikshanam. So, actually, just to describe little bit, Sudarshana Chakram, though has many spokes, it is actually forming the origin of Agni Devata. So there are 7 kinds of Agni. Even when we know when we cook and everything, even in the flame, there are different flames. In Agni has 7 tongue. And to say this, the consort of Agni, when we do Homam, we say Swaha is actually his consort. So there are 7 forms of tongues of Agni is Kali, Karali, Manojava, Sulohitaha, Sudhumar Navaha, Spulingini, Vishwadasa. So all of these are actually showing the essence, each Ayudham of Sri Krishna, the Sudarshana Chakram, they are actually self-effulgent and they are actually complete in every activity. They can help actually Sri Krishna. This is the aspect. In this purport also it is said that surrender to Lord's feet. How do we surrender in this way? How do we do Sharanagati? How do we surrender to his feet to get his stuff? So one of the things which is actually mentioned is actually the Paduka. So in this purport also, Srila Prabhupada says that ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. So if you think about it, if we want to surrender to the feet, something has to hold the Lord's feet. What is that? That is the Paduka, the slipper. Why it is so important? Because wherever the Bhagavan Sri Krishna goes, he always has. Of course, when he was a child in Vrindavanam, at that time he used to enjoy walking bare feet. That is a different leela of the pastime. But otherwise, always we see. This is exactly Tam Statevya Bhajamyaham. When Krishna was in Vrindavanam, he wanted every shrub, every plant, every flower, every grass to be touched by his feet. And that is his desire. It is his desire and his karuna. So there's a nice slokam which says, Shamadama gunadhanto dhanamalta deshikanam sharanam sharanam madhushram madhavasya pada kamalam idham te paduke rakshaya smitaha anudayani dhananama ganam nidhanam. It says, for people like us who are distanced from the qualities of control of senses, mental restraint, quietness of behavior, so we can only be saved by surrendering to Sri Krishna's lotus feet, which is actually treasured by the Vedas, which is without a beginning on the end. And actually that is why the Rakshanam which we say is the Paduka has more actually what we say, like a vessel which holds all the dust of whenever Sri Krishna walks. And that is the beauty. So we can see that our mind does not have the control. So we should actually think of Sri Krishna's lotus feet. What is the dust? When Krishna was walking in Vrindavana, how much his feet, we think about Lord's feet is soft. But imagine even on the stones and everything, he would walk. And even the cows, the calves, they would give pleasure to him. So we should actually aspire to be in that form when we can touch Sri Krishna's feet, when we can massage his feet. Of course, we may not be directly doing it. In our sampradayam, in any Vaishnava sampradayam, we should surrender to Bhagavatas and Acharyas, and through service through them, we can get the opportunity. Like 2 weeks ago, we had Chandana Yatra. So many people got the opportunity to grind Chandanam. So whichever we do as an offering, it may come back to Krishna. So this is how actually we surrender. So that is why it is said the form of Archa Vigraha for us is very important. And taking, as even in this shelter, the demons, however, not sought shelter of the lotus feet, were unable to achieve this desire. So we can see that as bhaktas, it is our responsibility to surrender to Sri Krishna's feet. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. How we surrender, he rewards. It is not that actually he ignored the Daityas, but they are also responsible as part and parcel of how they should get. They also got to see Mohini Murti. They were bewildered. But that is where it is a lesson for us. In real life, we may get bewildered by things we see. So the way to do it is chant Sri Krishna's name, listen to Bhagavata Katha. You know, we say that actually in Sattva, in a shlokam, in a shastra called Sattva Samhita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna enters into the Archa Vigraha and assuming the body of Archa. So we as a Bhagavata can actually get closer to him. The analogy is given is, imagine you mix milk with water, right? So though it is not exact analogy, but actually speaking, but when Sri Krishna, when we establish a Vigraha and he enters as he is present here in Sri Kalachandji, there is no difference between him and the form which is present. He is actually present. He is potency. That's why we say Satchidananda Vigraha. Yes, in colloquial terms, people can say Murti and idol. That is understand sometimes. But actual word is Archa Vigraha. Archa means one which is worshipable, one which is breathing, one which has life. Sometimes it happens that due to some worship is not there, then Bhagwan leaves and again you will have to do Pratishtha again. That is how our Agama Shastra and Pancharatrika Vidhi explain all these things. And the reason for doing this also is because we have to get benefit from him. Yes, initially it may be material benefit, but the real goal is Anukulya Sankalpasya Pratikulpa Varjanam, means that removing away that is undesirable to devotional service and that which is desirable for devotional service. And that is the real goal of Bhakti Yoga and Krishna consciousness. So you can see that how through surrender to his lotus feet, the Devatas also lost everything. Indra and all, they went, but they surrendered. Eventually they understood that it is their folly. He is the supreme controller of everything. We are only instruments. And only when we are instruments, we will not get reaction to all of these things. So we can see that in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Krishna, it is said that in the conversation with Chaitanya Sanatana Goswami, it says, Krishnera madhurupa suna sanatana ye rupera eka kana dubaya sabha tribhuvana sarva prani kare akarshanaha. The transcendental form of Sri Krishna is always effulgent and always fragrant. Even fractional understanding of Krishna's beauty can merge all the three worlds in the love of ocean. So, as we see in terms of the what we say is the qualities of Sri Krishna. So, Satya Kamatvam, Satya Sankalpa, Krititvatam. So, when we talk about someone's qualities, he is a good person. He is moral, he is very nice, he is kind. But when you talk about the same qualities of Sri Krishna, all those qualities are fragrant. They actually have their own essence itself. That is the beauty of Sri Krishna. When we say Satchidanandam Vigraha, Anadiradir Govindam, as we say, Vallabhacharya has said, Adharam, Madhuram, Vadanam, Nayanam, Gadaram. There are so many shlokams he has written. Vachanam, Madhuram, Hasitam, Madhuram. So, that's why I said, every quality of his is sweet. It is fragrant. It is effulgent. Our qualities cannot be like that. We are material. That is why he is Sri Krishna. Every activity. So that's why Vallabhacharya writes, Geetam Madhuram, Pitam Madhuram. How he eats is also sweet. Not a question of his eating. The activity of doing it. Even when he used to take the cow herds and play in the forest of Vrindavana, when he used to play with the calves, even that is sweet. Even when he slayed actually Hiranyakashipu, even that is sweet. That is the beauty of Sri Krishna. Every pastime of Sri Krishna has only sweetness. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, we can take example of any of Bhagavan Sri Krishna's incarnations. All have, of course, they have different bhavams of relishing and nectar and different kind of exchange with those devotees. But even that is sweet. That is why when we may read about everything material, after 5-6 times the taste goes away. But no matter how many times you keep on reading about all the pastimes of every incarnation of Krishna, you can read every 24/7. You can say in the morning, you can say Krishna got up, he went to the forest, he churned butter, he played with the cows and he came back. You can read 24/7 and it will still be sweet. Compared to if you read someone going to forest and coming back. After 10 times, 15 times, the taste will go away. That is the beauty of Sri Krishna. So, that is why it said there is the Nitya and Leela Vibhuti. So, Satya Kama means Kamayate iti Kamaha. That which is desired. So, this is eternal. The beauty of Sri Krishna is actually always eternal. So, that's why we say that, Dhairya, Parakrama, Satyakama, Krititvata, Kritagnyata, Maharanava, all these things, though some of them are used to require to destroy the demons and daityas, even they are effulgent. They are beautiful. They are fragrant. So, even when Krishna wants to protect, that act is also beautiful. Krishna never shows, even in his anger state as Hiranyakashipu, even that is effulgent. Even that is beautiful. I mean, of course, for every Leela of Krishna, there are so many shlokams in the Bhagavatam and other Puranas which are come over. So, one of the thing is Gambhiryam, we say, Ashritya Vishave Gambhiryam is an immeasurable depth of greatness. So, we see about Kalpa Vrikshaha. Kalpa Vriksha, when people want to go and ask something, but sometimes Krishna himself come in person in these avataram. Why? Because he wants to give us the opportunity to serve him. That is called Madhurya Gunam. Even enemies actually are overgone by this quality of Sri Krishna. This Madhuryam is so beautiful that even if Ravana didn't like him, even Hiranyakshu, that still that attraction is there. 24/7 Kamsa used to think how Krishna will be, though it is not the desirable state. Why that happens is because the Satchidanam Vigraha quality of Sri Krishna is so pleasant that even for the enemy it will attract. Now in real world, if they don't like someone, they'll think for 5 minutes and after that the brain will shut off. Because they cannot digest it. Because that is that dvesham will come. But the beauty of Sri Krishna, even in Kamsa felt, he was, of course, it is not the desirable way, but that shows the Leela Vibhuti of Sri Krishna. That Vibhavam, the Madhuryam, flows not only in this Vibhav avatarams, it is even present in the Archa Vigraha. And this insatiable nectar is what is actually the beauty and essence of surrender to his lotus feet. So that's why we say as devotees, it is very important that we keep our focus, we surrender to him, we think about his pastimes, and every activity we do, just like the example given for Devatas and Daityas in the Samudra Mantam, that the result also gives, see, in the end of the day, the Devatas got the Amritam, but what activity they are doing every day? They are following Sri Krishna's order to maintain this universe. That is a fundamental understanding. Indra didn't go and say, I made Amritam, I am going to become like the richest person in the world and I will do every nonsense in the world. If anything happens, Krishna checks him. That is how it is there. So that is a lesson for all of us, that we may do devotional service, we may enjoy sometimes the fruits of benefit of our bhakti yoga, but even one should understand to give away the fruit back to his. That is the real aspect of surrender and saranagati. So we can see how that in spite of Rahu being, Swarnabhavu being touched by the nectar, he and all the devatas are still having blessing of Sri Krishna, and they are still continuing. So the lesson for us in all of this in today's shlokam is the unparalleled generosity of Sri Krishna. That it is called audaryam, that no one can ever say it doesn't have. Every jivatma, not just human beings, plants, animals, everyone has got actually that favor and blessing from Sri Krishna. It is we have to get close to him, just like Draupadi cried for help. So I will end today's class. If any comments or questions. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful class. Very enlightening. My question is, we hear a lot about giving up the fruit or using the fruit in Krishna's service. So practically, in our daily lives, what does that look like? I mean, obviously, the obvious one is when you work and you get money and you engage in Krishna's service, and how do you dedicate everything in Krishna's service? Because we do a lot of things throughout the day.
Very good question. So practically, we are working in the real environment. Doesn't matter, but this was one example. You may get money. We have to think that yes, just like Arjuna, I got the result. I did the hard work. The money is still his. If I maintain the house, it is for his pleasure. I may be living as a servant. The best way to realize it is thinking that we are the servant. The moment we think that result, we become the owner, then it's very difficult we will think we want to enjoy. So we can say that yes, we get a salary. Yes, Krishna has given. Whatever is one's capability, doesn't matter. You can give minimal, whatever, or even by heart you give it. Some people have to save for their family. But whatever you get it, you think that Krishna, this is still yours. I am not here to enjoy. I am here to help other Bhagavatas and other devotees. So the mood of service and being a servant is only the best way we can realize it. You can own, for example, you can own $10 million of home. I'm just saying an example. You may do hard work. It's okay, as part and parcel we may live in the place, but it is still his. The moment we remove from that ownership thinking, like say for example, you sign a house, I'm just saying, you sign an agreement. You think I am signing on his behalf. You understand? I am signing on his behalf. You are just a servant. Ultimately, it is his. This body is also given by Sri Krishna only. We are only Jivatma. So when Krishna says that Sarva Dharma Parityagya Mamekam Sharanam Vrajaha, means this Jivatma is also his. So anything today's world, we have to do hard work, yes. Because as Krishna has explained in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, you can't sit in a mountain sometimes. I mean, not possible. Even Arjuna wanted to do. Same question, practicality. He wanted to fight the battle. So what did Arjuna do? He fought the battle, he got the kingdom. But he did it on Krishna's behalf. So same thing, nothing wrong in aspiring for good things. And that comes with, and naturally there is a natural phase of karma, because one cannot say all of a sudden I can be detached. So the best way to do it is think we are doing for his behalf on his ownership. Whatever money we get, it will take some, how do I say this? There is required of practice. Okay? Because detachment cannot come for any person in one day. including for all of us. That is why we say to people that when they start eating, when they come into devotional service, we say you offer to Krishna first. Right? So we are showing servit. He is the servitor, we are servant. We may get a fruit, we may get a flower, we may get everything, Pashpam Putram, whatever Krishna says. So the same thing is, we may get money, it is his to enjoy. You have to mentally detach, but you have to remove the ownership from it. If we think Krishna, I did it, thank you very much. And as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, today I have this much, tomorrow there is that much. Nothing wrong to grow. But one should realize in the end, body is not permanent. It is all his only. He will be permanent. Our body will not be permanent. Once we realize that, then is the same frustration in the shloka which is said that no matter everything the karmis and jnanis want to achieve, there is no contentment in life. You may be happy with money, or anything, even in devotional service, people may feel there is happiness, but there is difference between happiness and contentment. Even if you do little bit, Shabari gave only this much. Her heart was content with what she did. Same thing for us. Even when we chant our rounds, it is for his pleasure. That is why it is said that, yes, a byproduct of Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktihi, that it is to purify us. But as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the chanting is for his pleasure. Whether you purify me or no, I will still chant your name. If one chants like this, then automatically the anartha will go away. You don't need to specifically pray that this should go away. That is real. So same thing applies to all of us. I am a working professional. I may be changing a job. I may be looking for a job. I may, getting a salary. But whatever I get, the thing is, get the paycheck. This is for you to enjoy. Then, however it happens, it will happen. You may buy something, you may go something, you may maintain a family, you may buy a home, you may feed your family, you have to take your kids for vacation. You are doing as a service. So that is how it has to be. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your wonderful class, as always. So, Prabhu, we read in Bhagavad Gita about demoniac and divine qualities. And then in Samudra Manthan also, we are reading how demons and demigods are behaving with their own intentions and objectives. I was wondering, in our real life also, while we are practicing devotees, sometimes we see that these gross qualities like enviousness, getting the grudge or revengeful attitude, that if this someone did to me, I will show him what I can do, So we see not only, karmis and demons, but within our devotee circle also we see these qualities coming up. Now, as a practicing devotee, you might be practicing nicely, but what I'm trying to understand is, if you see that other devotee is doing with you, so one is, how should you react in that situation? And then second is, how can you be more in a state of being more stronger in terms of handling these emotions? Thank you.
There is no perfect answer to this, but we have to only go through Bhagavad Gita, which is a very practical thing, because in real life we may feel the word Bhagavata, actually, though we use the word devotee, the qualification of Bhagavata, the real Bhagavata is Prahlada, Hanuman, Garuda, all these personalities, Yashoda, Srimati Radharani. This is called Bhagavatas. We are all aspiring Bhagavatas. So naturally, and including me, so when we have aspiring Bhagavatas, we will have this mixture of qualities in which we encounter. Naturally, the best thing is when we find that which is against, not sat, means that which is not towards truth, sometimes you have to move away from it. Sometimes you will have to confront it. But confrontation doesn't mean we have to have conflict in that regard. The best way to do it is, if the best way to do it is, sometimes you have to avoid. Yes, in real life, material life, it is possible to encounter such aggressive people, or even amongst, with we say, devotees or devotional circle and everything. So if it is best thing is better not to speak as much as possible, because everything is karmic reaction. We can think sometimes that yes, we have to speak when something is wrong, or we see something is wrong. We cannot just sweep it under the rug. That is not right. Then that is against karmic reaction. If we see something wrong has really happened, we cannot condone and say, okay, this is good to go. Right? That's a different topic of discussion. But when it comes to personal stuff, we should be humble enough to understand that due to some prarabdha karma, and sometimes you may be able to realize this, that this is happening due to some prarabdha karma. Not everyone can. It all depends by one's tapasya and one's practice. So that's why examples you will see, like many times, if you see as acharyas like Srila Prabhupada and many things, they have also encountered a lot of personalities who have been very harsh in some sense, or negative towards them. Like one example, I mean, this is just many examples, but we know that when Bombay temple was constructed, Srila Prabhupada was there. There was this person who was very against, Srila Prabhupada. I mean, in the terms of not supporting to the temple. See, we can take example from Srila Prabhupada, right? He didn't think negative about him. See what I'm saying? We shouldn't think negative. Even if the person is doing wrong to us, we shouldn't think, oh, this should happen to him. That is his karma. He's doing it. Yes, we have to protect ourselves. Naturally, we live in a real world. Someone come to attack us or something. That's a different story, But in thought itself, we don't need to think negative. Fine. That is the karma. Let him, wish him the best. Let him do what he wants. We avoid and keep ourselves into our spiritual life. That is the best way we can do it. I guess. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji, for the class. I had more of a comment on Abhay's question and also the part before that. So the first part with regard to the question, or I'll get to the second part and I'll get back to the first part later. So the second part is when we were talking about how like even Krishna's enemies loves to talk about his qualities, like Kamsa was talking about it. It reminded me of in the Valmiki Ramayana where Shurpanakha, when she's going and describing Rama to Ravana, like in the actual text, she's just talking about all these great qualities about him and describing how great he is. So that reminded me of that. But the thing about the how to dedicate everything as service, just what I've understood, is that one, realizing that we're not the owner. Like Srila Prabhupada said, like we're all thieves. Like Prabhupada Premataji was talking about this earlier. Like, we're all thieves if we think that we own things, because we don't even own the soul. We don't own the jivatma. So then when you realize that everything is Krishna's ownership, the money, the property, whatever you have, it's all his. And you are also his for his service. So when you think of it that way, it becomes easier. And also, like profession-wise, if you're dealing with clients, like I know Abhay deals with clients, like you realize that Krishna's inside those people as well. And they're all like, if you serve them, you're also serving Krishna. So if your work involves service, or it's of a service-based kind of thing, once you realize that your work itself is actually serving people and improving their lives, that also becomes a form of devotional service. So yeah, just my 2 cents on that.
The other thing to add, Abhay, is I know you're coming from a corporate world. We also need to decide, as you know, as myself working in the corporate world, a point we have to decide what is the line we have to draw, right? We all know that, as being in spiritual practice, right? You cannot put yourself, not you, all of us, even Vishwamitra got swayed. Okay, we cannot expect ourselves saying we'll go into a pack of dens and lions and say we will not get affected. So we have to use our intelligence. We have knowledge, we have Vigwan. So you have to understand what is the point, where is the line to be drawn, even when interacting with people or profession or what is there. And that will understand through practice and tapasya that if this environment is not about material benefit, a point will come, we'll realize, you will judge that this is not the right place for me, even for my consciousness. Then guidance will come that you will have to move somewhere. But that takes time. It is not, and sometimes you will have to understand, because we have to say when we do karma, there will be reaction. Doesn't matter. We are living in a real world, right? So you're correct. There may be clients, there may be people. You have to decline when to say no, right? And again, that is one's karma, how much sacrifice one is. That's why tapasya and sacrifice is very important. Without tapasya or sacrifice, nothing is achieved in life. So anyway, thank you for the class, questions and everyone comments. So Vrindraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Go, Ben.